Fear keeps a lot of us stuck in a perpetual loop of stillness. We know exactly what we need to do. We know what we want to do. Sometimes we even have everything planned out. In order for us to get moving, in order for us to get moving and finally put those plans into motion, you have to take the first step. No amount of planning, no amount of preparing, no amount of theorizing is going to get you through that first step towards what you need to accomplish. It's always going to be the first action. And as scary as that first action is, you have to understand how pivotal it is to look past all that fear and look past the uncomfortability of taking that first step and actually getting things done. Fear has a way of keeping us exactly where we are because it's a cautionary thing in our brains. Back in the primitive ages, taking that risk can sometimes mean even death. And so we're wired to stay exactly the same. We're wired to do the same routines every day that we know work. So the moment we decided to stray from that, your brain is going off and giving you all types of haywires as to why you shouldn't do it, or coming up with excuses as to why you shouldn't do it. But what if I told you behind that wall of fear is a great life that you've always envisioned? You can have everything you want and more some, but all you had to do was just step past that veil of uncertainty and finally take that first step. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to y'all boys why facing your fears is one of the most important habits you could possibly develop, and how drastic it can change your life if you put it into practice. As I said before, our brains are hardwired to understand familiarity in order to survive. When it comes down to unfamiliarity, our brains go haywire. The unknown is more frightful than simply exploring on your own. Our minds often exaggerate and bloat the danger of a lot of situations, such as for me starting this YouTube channel. Starting was the biggest part for me because I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't know exactly how I needed to start structuring my videos. I didn't know how I needed to, if I needed quality for a camera, I didn't know anything. Outside of just doing the research, the biggest thing I had to do for myself was simply start recording, press and record, and just talk to the camera and getting my reps in. Now, a lot of people are afraid to talk to a camera. I can tell you firsthand that in my past 10 videos that I've made, talking to the camera has become so normal now, to the point where on my 4th video, I was comfortable. I bloated in my head just how long it would take for me to even get comfortable talking to this camera. But after like 4 videos and a little bit of practice, I understood that it wasn't nothing. And now every single day that I post a video, I'm constantly improving my content. The reason why I say the best thing you could possibly do is conquer these fears and take that first step is because the longer you push something off, the harder it gets to do. It's like an untreated wound in a way. If you get wounded out in a while, you're gonna have to patch it up. You're gonna have to attend to it. You're gonna have to make sure it's doing good. But if you just leave it there bleeding, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get infected. And in our case, if you not taking that first step, it's like leaving the wound bleeding. It's not gonna get no better. Shit, it might even get worse because all the ideas that you had for it, since you're not putting it into action, they start to fade away. You start to forget. But if you tend to that wound, in our case, putting in those reps, that wound's gonna get better, it's gonna heal, it's gonna become stronger. And so is whatever you are working towards. Confidence is built through action, not thinking. Like I said, you can have the best plan. You can analyze every key detail. You can plan and theorize every possible scenario, every possible reality, whatever you do. But the best thing you could possibly do for yourself is put in the work. Now, in terms of getting confident and getting proficient with what you're doing, that only comes through practice. You're gonna have to go through that rough phase where you're just sitting there talking to a camera, not knowing what you're gonna say next, cutting a lot of content out. You're gonna have to sit there having to learn to understand what you're doing in the garden. You're gonna understand what plants need sun, what plants need shade, how to avoid them getting burnt. If you're in the gardening, you gotta understand also what works for you, because what works for other people may not necessarily work for you. And you'll understand what works for you through the reps that you put in to get to where you want to be. While I was scripting this video, I came up with a quote, or I took inspiration from a quote that said something along the lines of, you don't gain confidence before a challenge, you gain confidence because of the challenge. That challenge, that obstacle, that force that you've yet to conquer, you've yet to overcome, will not only give you that confidence and give you that proficiency, but it will give you that boost in self-image, as I said in previous videos. There's a very well-known saying that you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable in order to be successful. Now, the saying itself might scare off a lot of people. I know it did me when I was younger. I didn't like being uncomfortable. I felt like being uncomfortable put me in a spot where I'd be constantly agitated. But what it really means is you have to be okay with stepping outside your comfort zone in ways where you're going to take those risks. You're going to take action and do the things you said you were going to do, even though it doesn't feel convenient to do it. Okay, like right now, this is my first time ever recording a video early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I probably sound rough and scraggy, but I knew that the best time to do it would be early in the morning. Because if I wait later on in the day where it's perfect lighting and I'm more awake, I'm probably going to be busy doing something out here in the yard or getting caught up in helping a family member with something around the house. And by the time I'm actually have time to myself to make a video, it's going to be later on in the afternoon. Phone just cut out because I have full storage on my phone, so we're about to make this a little more quicker than usual so I don't run out of space again. Where you're comfortable, you're gonna stay familiar, and in that familiarity zone is where you will reside if you don't decide to innovate and just don't decide to take risks in your life. That comfort zone will eventually wither out your skills. It will make you satiated, satisfied, and whenever you're satiated and satisfied in life, I'm sure you already know, you start to get lazy, you start to get slugger, you start to just sit there and be content. You cannot be content in this life. You have to strive for more all the time, because when you get content and when you get stationary in whatever it is you are comfortable in, well, you don't grow. And we should always be growing every year, no matter how old we are. Your future self is built by the uncomfortable decisions that you make. You want to be a doctor, you better be okay with studying. You better be okay with dealing with patients and having patience to deal with people as well. You want to be a lawyer, you better be also really good at studying. You better be able to argue your pants off without getting upset and being able to make valid points to convince someone who is judging your points that you're making. You want to be an engineer, also still with the studying, better get comfortable with that. You better be good with math, you better be good at problem solving and critical thinking. All of these things are things that you have to step out of your comfort zone to do, because the average person doesn't really want to do them. But with that being said, I hope y'all boys learned something from this video. I hope I reached out and gave somebody a new perspective. I hope I provoked an interesting thought. Anything that'll help somebody out there that's watching these videos. If you made it this far, put the number 5 down in the comment section. And if you want to see me talk about a new topic, let me know down below. But until then, I'm going to get up with y'all boys next time.